Have I got this right? You want to benefit the world, benefit society, and make money at the same time? Well, there is a way to do that. Stick around and find more about social responsible and impact investing. So, I guess you're wondering, what exactly is socially responsible investing? What is impact investing? They are two distinct types of investing. In fact, there is a third one called ESG investing, and that stands for environmental, societal, and governance investing. And while the three types of investing are related, they have subtle differences, although in the industry they are quite often used interchangeably. So let's start with ESG investing. In a nutshell, it looks at the environmental, social, and governance standards that a company enforces and favors businesses that put efforts towards avoiding polluting the environment, using renewable energy, which is important as businesses, so the commercial and industrial sector combined, they consume roughly over 2 times the energy that the residential sector does, at least in the US. And there is currently a big shift towards using 100% renewable energy, with big companies leading the charge. For example, Amazon have stated that they're aiming to be 100% renewable by 2025, whereas Apple is already powering all of its global operations with 100% renewable energy. ESG investing also favors businesses that put efforts towards preserving natural resources. So for example, companies like Levi's, they place a huge emphasis on using sustainable cotton. And you may think, well, cotton is natural, right? It should be okay. But actually, let's take a look at the ROC, which used to be the 4th largest lake in the world. And it has almost entirely dried up, and it was largely because of the fashion industry's involvement and its cotton usage. It was estimated that one of these cotton shirts could have used up to 2,700 liters of water, just a single shirt. And companies that have a high ESG standard typically avoid sourcing this type of unsustainably produced raw materials. Another important standard is caring about human rights and standing against child and forced labor. A recent example can be seen in Nike and H&M. Both companies recently put out statements saying that they prohibited forced labor in its supply chain in China. And in their case, actually, those statements draw unwanted attention from the Chinese government, and the two companies actually faced huge backlash in China. Items have been pulled from sale from online stores, Chinese celebrities have cut their endorsements, smartphone map apps have even blocked search results for H&M stores. But when you see things like that, you realize that some companies place values before profit. And this is what ESG investing is all about. Some other factors that can be considered in terms of ESG are a company's engagement in a community, making sure that the company treats its employees well, whether it's transparent in terms of governance, whether it avoids conflicts of interest, whether it respects the rights of its employees and its shareholders, and so on and so forth. So this is ESG. Socially responsible investing, or SRI, goes a step further than that and considers ethical and moral principles. It avoids industries like weapons, tobacco, gambling. It avoids industries that have terrorism affiliations. And I'm just sitting here wondering, why the hell would anyone invest in an industry that has affiliations with terrorism? But that's just me. Then it also avoids industries that damage the environment, violate human rights, and so on and so forth. Then we have impact investing, which is similar, but it has a slightly different focus. While ESG and SRI are more focused on a company's standards, impact investing is about the concept that your actual investment should be making a positive impact, meaning that the company's main operations and business should be focused on producing that impact. Typically, that involves companies that operate in sectors like renewables, clean energy, sustainable agriculture, basic services, education, but really it can go beyond that. So, you might be wondering, okay, all of this sounds good, but how big is this field really? And in fact, it's huge! According to the Global Impact Investing Network, the impact investing market was roughly $715 billion at the end of 2019. On the other hand, ESG investments and assets have hit roughly $40.5 trillion last year, but they're still growing. Bloomberg says that by 2025, which is in roughly 4 years' time, ESG investments could reach $53 trillion and be roughly 1/3 of all investments in the world. So, as you can see, the field is huge, but it's still growing. And by now, you're probably wondering, how can I get involved? Well, you're in luck! Until recently, these types of investing used to be restricted to institutions only, but they've opened up to individuals as well. The easiest way to get into them is to buy an ESG or an SRI fund. I personally use Moneybox, and they have an option which allows you to allocate all of your stock investments to an ESG fund, and they use the Old Mutual MSCI World ESG Index Fund. It has slightly higher fees than the other fund that they offer, but they're negligible. They are 0.25% as opposed to 0.13, so as you can see, it's tiny. And switching over takes less than a minute. But if instead you're trading on online brokers, they do typically offer a variety of ESG ETFs. You can use an ETF screener to find the ones that suit you best and then check if your broker has them. On the other hand, if you're more interested in impact investing, you can simply buy an ETF that tracks your chosen industry globally. For example, you can get the Invesco Solar ETF, the iShares Global Clean Energy ETF, the First Trust Global Wind Energy ETF. There's a lot of them. In my personal opinion, ETFs that invest in renewables are a great investment right now, as there is an increasing global movement towards switching to entirely renewable energy sources. I'll include some links in the description below to such ETFs. Finally, if you, like me, prefer picking your own companies, you can check a company's ESG score on Yahoo Finance by going on their profile. Some companies that have a high ESG score are Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia, Salesforce. But you can also take a look on Google or Yahoo Finance and find some that you think are better deals or resonate with you better. And instead, if you're leaning more towards impact investing, I suggest that you look into an industry that resonates with you or that you think is going to be important in the future, and take a look at the best companies in that industry. I personally own Canadian Solar and First Solar and think that they're a good choice. You can also go for Enphase Energy, Solar Edge, and so on. But please do your research, as I believe a lot of the companies in this field are currently priced very highly and may not be a very good investment. This is what ESG, socially responsible and impact investing are in a nutshell. Let me know if you've enjoyed the video and what are your personal top ESG or impact investing picks in the comments below. Personally, I find the field fascinating and I'm following it super closely, so I may cover it again soon. But until then, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, share with your friends if you think they'll find it interesting, and I will see you in the next video.